Okay, so here we have an Oculus Go, which is something to help us get through these troubled times, give us some virtual reality. As you can see on the front of the box, there's Netflix and some other games. On the side there is a really cool feature, which is this guy, which is video on demand with friends, which apparently will let you hook up with other people through the virtual reality. Now, let's keep it spinning around here, and that is the remote that it comes with. And let's go take a look at the back. There we go. So this is just a slightly higher gloss version of what we've already said. Now, this device, as I said, we've purchased two of these for our family and friends to keep everybody sane while we're locked away. And we're just going to unbox it now, and then we're going to open it up and we're going to set it up and show you how it works. Now, just before we get to that, I want to explain that we purchased this 64 gig model right here. Well, you may not be able to see that, but just trust me, it's 64 gig. And that was about $50 more than the 32 gig version. This starts out at about $150, $160 US. And this version is about 200 and change US. We paid $260 Canadian for it because we're in Canada. Bought it off of Amazon. They delivered it a few days ago, which is, if you know what time we're in, which is the early stages of COVID-19. It's happy that we were able to get them without any trouble at all. Now, when we did this, I did look at the Samsung Gear VR. We've owned one of those in the past. That's the device where you put your phone into a headset and you can run the Oculus software, because Samsung has signed a pretty cool deal with Oculus to buddy up. So that's a very good solution as well for people that just want to get started and have some distraction. And that runs about 125 US. There's the Go, which is has been around now for a few years, and it was largely replaced with the Quest. The Quest is a much higher resolution screen. It has, but much more importantly, it has positional trackers. So if you're walking around a room, it will know that. And the way they're doing that is there are cameras on the front, so it has an idea of what you're doing. You can see even from the picture here that the Oculus Go does not have that. Then there's the Rift, which is the original Oculus product, and that's what got Facebook to buy Oculus. The Rift is the original VR that you probably have seen around on TV, and what that is one that has to connect to a high-end gaming computer. S, which is the newer model, but you know, blah blah blah. You'll look at these as you make your own purchase decisions. The Rift's biggest issue for us is that it does need to be tethered to a high-end computer. And while we have some high-end computers, I don't want it tethered to anything. I just want to sit on the couch or sit wherever, sit in my bed or wherever it is, and be able to have it work. I also want to be able to give it to my parents and let them play with it for a bit. I gave my Gear VR to my 86-year-old mother a few years ago, and she loved it. So it was a nice distraction. She didn't feel sick in it. She was quite happy with it. Okay, then on to other products. There's the HTC Vive, which is about $600. That's what you see in most commercial institutions. So if you go to a gaming arcade, you will see HTC Vives everywhere. And then there's a myriad of other products like the Pico G2, the Goblin, the Daydream View, the Mirage Solo, and something that almost caught on but just quite didn't was the PlayStation VR. And I'm not really sure why that was, other than it required it to be tethered as well, and you had to have a PlayStation and blah blah blah. But it was a bit surprising that the PlayStation VR just couldn't beat the Rift. Okay, so let's take this thing apart now. We're just going to shake the box off, and we have not opened this before, so we really don't know what to expect. Okay, so we're going to pull the headset out now. And the headset itself, you can see just has a little plastic cover on the front that we're going to pull off at some point. Not now, though. We'll just leave it in case we have to return it or there's a problem. The headset already comes assembled, which is different from our previous products. And you can see there's stickers on the lenses on the inside. So apparently we're going to have to pull those off right away, but we'll leave that for now. Then there's the controller. Let's see what buttons are on there. So there's there's two buttons right there, including a back button, and there's also a trigger button on the front for your finger. And doesn't look like there's a lot else there. Let's open up the packaging and see what else there is. Those are probably just instructions. Let's take a look. So, oh yes, the safety manual, the most important part of any of these things. So I haven't read it, but it's pretty, okay, and that's a wipe, I presume? That's a wipe for the screen, yeah. So presumably what that safety instructions say is we're not responsible for anything, so I hope you have a good lawyer, because we have lots of good lawyers. So if you are stupid enough to wear this or will fall down the stairs, don't sue us. That is a grab your phone and get started basic instruction. So we'll do that. We'll go to oculus.com/app and install it. Okay, so there's also a glasses holder, which is this rubberized unit you can put around here so you can continue to wear your glasses. We'll pull that out. And there's also a little rope holder, which we're going to call useless. Now, the first thing you need to do is put the, is go to oculus.com and sign in and create an account. If you don't do that, you really can't do much. And you can't do it through the headset. You have to do it through a computer. So go to your phone, go to a tablet, go to your laptop, whatever you're doing, and set up your account there.
First thing that you'll notice when you're going to pull off stickers and things is that there's actually two on the inside here. The first one says no liquid cleaners, so don't try to clean these. And the second one says no sunlight, which is fairly obvious. There's also your volume on here, and then a power button and a light, presumably so that when you're charging it, you can tell if it's charged or dead. And then nothing on this side. On the bottom, there's this hole, which is a microphone. And then on this side, there's the logo and what looks to be a headphone jack and a power jack. And that's all that's on here. So when you get it, first thing you should do is plug it in, and then you'll be able to see this light turn on, and again, plug it in on the side here.
Charge it up and set your expectations that you won't be able to play with it right away. You have to wait a bit.
All right, so it tells us to go get the app, so we're going to go get the app. We're going to go to the Play Store. Right there. And we're going to go to Oculus. And we'll install. So to be clear, you need the app just to set up the Oculus Go. You do not need it to run the Oculus Go. All right, so let's open it. We've already created an Oculus account. As you can see here, they suggest that you use their Facebook account because, of course, Oculus is owned by our friends at Facebook. I'm going to sign in. All right, so we've signed in. Next. And now we are going to set up an Oculus Go. And let's start now. All right, so we're going to power it on just like it shows in the picture. Okay, so you may or may not have heard those beeps, but it was beeping and a buzzing. And there's a power light on now, so I'm going to click continue just like it says. Plug in your Oculus Go. We already have it plugged in. We already charged it now, so we're good to go. It's just telling you you've got to charge it. So location access, yes, that's fine. Allow all the time. There we go. So now it's connected. Light bulb will light up. Okay, that's great. Let's get the remote. Okay, so the light did come up. Has come up at the top. Well, we took the battery out, put it back in. Let's continue. So we are right-handed. And last check, we want English. US is just fine. To avoid damage to lenses, right, keep it out of direct sunlight. Yeah, it's common sense stuff, right? So we're going to ignore that. Let's watch the little training video. We'll skip through this because it looks pretty pointless. We'll speed this up for you. Okay, so more or less, don't do anything stupid with it. Sit down while you're playing. If you feel sick, take the headset off. Keep it out of the sun. Also, not a good idea to use in the shower. Something it didn't say, but that's it. Health and safety, yes, we understand that. Again, this is Facebook's lawyers making sure that they don't get sued. So let's go click continue. We've updated team. Oh, yes, we carefully read those. All right, so let's get going here. We are now using Facebook powers. Yeah, that's unfortunate, but it's the way it is. Okay, so as soon as this video is done and we've got our setup done, I'm going to log out of Facebook because I do not want it to be connected. But for the moment, I will leave it as stay logged in because most of you will leave it that way. Updating headset. And on the headset itself, it shows a Wi-Fi connected to continue to Oculus app. we're just going to wait. Okay, so the headset is rebooting.
Setting up your headset. We are preparing your headset. Please take off your headset and follow the steps in the Oculus app on your phone.
That's what it says in the headset itself. So let's look at the phone. So this is getting us to buy things. Now, from using the Oculus in the past, I can tell you that you don't need to buy really anything. There's tons of free stuff, including, for me, most notably Netflix. When things are getting tense, you can just sit in a dark room. It's just like being in a theater, and it works great. All right, so just to explore the app here, you can see we've got different options and settings. There's the home, store, to go buy stuff, social, which I will sign out of once we're done here. And most notably settings, including telling us that our battery is quite low because we haven't charged it long enough. Okay, so we put the Oculus Go on our heads, and we have to run through an initial setup wizard.
Yeah.
What was that like?
So it will configure this. So our little controller here. So you go through and it shows you the controls, like this is a trackpad. You move left, you move right. There's a back button, which is this, and then an Oculus Home button, which is this one, and it'll explain it all. And more than that, it configures where it is on the screen. So you went through some other settings, such as what you want the Oculus Home to be. So when you put it on, what do you want your surroundings to look like? And it gives you a few options there. We have selected Home at Night, for whatever that is. But there's other ones like Rainforest and whatever. And I'm just going to go to the Sharing tab, which is going to Sharing, and I click on that. And then it shows me some different options, and I'm going to go to the one all the way on the left that says Cast, and click on that, and we'll see where it goes.
So inside the Oculus, on the main control bar, the main menu, you select Sharing and then Cast. And now that that has been done, you'll see on the phone here, it's come up with headset casting on. And I can click on that, and it's going to show us what. There we go. Now we're looking at what she's looking at. So let's maximize this so we can see this a little bit better. There we go. There we go. So we're seeing what Gunjack and trading apps and all the other stuff. So Daly, can you show us where that sharing was? I see it down at the bottom. Can you just explain it again?
So it will start you off. I believe it's on this tab, that it starts you off. And then you just click on sharing, and then over here, click casting. And right now there's a green dot. I would assume that means that it's actually happening. But you click this, and it'll bring up a screen right in the middle here. It says, do you want to start casting? And then you just click start or select or okay or something, a blue button.
Okay, can we go off to Netflix? Can you find Netflix in there?
So I just click the search bar, and then it actually brings up, so yeah, just right here, Netflix as one of the suggested ones. So I'm going to click on that, and then Netflix, and install.
We'll probably just have to set up our username and password, which we'll do without you watching.
Also interesting to note, as we went through the sort of safety video earlier on the Oculus app, it gave you ratings for different apps, and this one is comfortable. Just interesting.
Oh, interesting, yeah. All right, so at this point, Netflix isn't going to let us cast out to the screen for whatever reason. So, but you can trust my assistant, Daly, who is saying that yes, Netflix is up and happy, everything's working, and it looks just like a movie theater. There are several different backgrounds you can get, but the main background is just a movie theater with red curtains on it, and it works.
All right, so I went into the Netflix thing. I was sitting in a cabin. There were windows. When you clicked, so like over here, you can see the play. When you clicked on that, it dimmed the lights, and the whole thing was very focused on the gigantic TV in front of you. And then I clicked the home button on the controller, and it brought me here. So I'm going to click quit and then go see what else I could do. All right, so once I clicked exit on the Netflix, it brought up the free app. So I'm going to go over here to Temple Run, pretty common mobile app, and we'll see what that is. You also notice that the rating over here is Comfort Intense. Also interesting, as I just figured out, if you hold the button and go up and down with your hand, it moves the, in this case, the scroll bar. Cool.
Hey, Daly.
Yes.
So what we're seeing is pretty grainy, and that's just the casting, right? Like in your case, is it super clear?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you have, if it were a better quality display, would you notice it, do you think? Or do you think that's about as good as you would happy with.
Yeah, I think you honestly would be able to tell because right
Okay.
now it's not like watching TV. It's definitely less than that, but it wouldn't be an issue because there's other technology. Like you're not really focused on that.
Okay, yeah, the casting that we're seeing here, it's super grainy. So like I can barely see the word free. It's not crisp at all.
Oh no. That's it's significantly better on here. You can just sort of if you focus, you can see the lines and whatever this is
Okay.
broadcasting from. Okay, so
It's going to use up some storage.
and yep, all good. It also looks like I'm shaking my hand a ton, and I'm not. That's just sort of how the controller is.
There's probably a sensitivity setting in there somewhere that we can adjust, but can you, while we're waiting, can you move your head down so we can see what that menu bar says? Oh, move it back up, thanks. So it's in there, navigate, social, sharing, notifications, and settings. You can see the battery's at 100. Oh, one of them is the remote, and one of them is the unit. So the headset's probably 100. Oh, there we go.
The controller is 100, and the headset is 73. And I'm going to go ahead and click on this because it says I have notification. And that's just what's installing. Awesome.
Yay.
You can also see this is just what I've selected. So there are a whole bunch of other different home settings though. All right, so this is done. We'll click open on here. See, ooh.
Yep. Let's see if this will cast or not. And it is. I see a
Nice.
golden, and that actually looks a lot clearer because, of course, it's a graphic. Text is always terrible when it's being cast. So not always.
From my end, you can sort of see the colors. Oh, okay, all right. What is that?
That's saying you can use a different kind of controller.
Button there.
There we
All
go. We're in the
So,
temple.
If you know this game, then you know what's going on. If not, you grab this, and then it's like Indiana Jones. You have to run from this weird sort of monkey thing. So we'll see how this goes, because keep in mind, I'm sitting down. So we'll see. All right, so I'm going to grab that. I don't know how to...
With the
Whoa,
pointer.
oh, my hands.
Oh, cool.
How do I run?
I don't know, but you're going to get eaten.
I know. Wait, it's okay. It's running for me. So I'm not running.
So tip your head to the left or the right? Does that
Ah.
that's, oh, so you steer with your head.
What?
Oh, she got eaten. Okay, so that's a fun thing. So let's get out of that now. So you can see basically it works. And let's go back to the main menu and look down at the settings. So what's under home? Home, library, store, browser, TV. Let's go to TV.
Oh, can you see this?
Yes.
Oh, that's so cool. All right, so yeah, so pretty much just TV, and I'm
Just
gonna
apps.
say this.
But what are the apps? Because the TV is obviously not TV. It's because it's not television. It's going to be apps.
It's Oculus TV, yes, and it's just videos from the looks of it. Yeah. So if I were to click entertainment, let's say, casting, live streaming not available. This content cannot be viewed outside of your headset. Okay.
Okay,
So,
fair enough. So let's get out of that.
all right. So over here in settings, we have brightness, volume, Wi-Fi, reset view, and see all. So just before we go any further into this, something cool I just figured out, and they probably said it and I missed it, but if you hold that button, so let's say I'm going to look down and I hold the button.
On the remote?
Yes, the Oculus Home button. So the bottom of the two ones that are on the top of the controller.
Yes.
You will see this little reset thing in the middle, and then it resets it to wherever I'm pointing. So for some reason, if I really wanted to have my head down, I could do like this, but because I'm a normal human and I'm going to have my head up here, I'm going to hold that up. It'll reset, and then it'll bring it to where I pointed.
So resets your view. So if you decide to lie down after you've started sitting up, you don't have to break your neck.
Yeah, or if I want to look way up, I can do that too.
For some reason, right?
If I was wanted to lean back and
Right. Now I remember. So let's go look at those settings. I don't think there's anything tremendously interesting there. Is the brightness okay the way it is?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I wonder how bright it can get. What happened? Right.
Oh, okay. So it's yeah.
Oh, that's actually not a huge difference. Yeah, it's a pretty light difference. I would say that would be if you were pretty sensitive to light, that would help. But other than that, not a gigantic difference.
Probably more of a battery consumer than anything else, or battery saver.
Yeah, likely.
Okay, can we go back to the home then and just look at those other menu items?
Yeah.
Social, can we just click on social?
Sure.
Okay, so that's what you'd expect. So you can drill into people. It's sharing. Probably the same thing. That's where we just were, right? Yeah, videos, there we go. Notifications.
And that's just a tempo run. If I clear that, and also Netflix.
There we
There,
go.
okay.
Wonderful. Okay, so it's the point to this, I think, is that it's pretty straightforward, right? Like, could Grandma figure this out
Probably.
with a little bit of coaching?
Yep.
Maybe watching this video. Okay. Okay. So if you have any technical capacity at all, you'll be able to figure this out.
So I just opened my library and there's a few cool things in here. Firstly, if you click most recent, so this is actually just a menu of how to sort the apps you have.
Oh, at the top there.
Yeah, so most comfortable to least comfortable, which is
I choose least comfortable.
we're going
My
back to
ex-wife would love it.
going back to the idea that, you know, each app is rated from, like, will this cause motion sickness, for example. So cool rating system there. And then also, if you get into this and you're like, man, I don't know how to do anything, cannot figure it out, there's a way to relaunch the tutorial once you're actually wearing it. So just interesting things to note. So we downloaded a National Geographic app just to sort of see if how the video quality is. And you guys can't see when I go into this, it won't allow it to cast. But it's pretty cool. You can see the menu on here, and then it lets you sit in a video and you can look around, and it's pretty cool. Alright, so overall, I really like this. The only issue is the battery dies pretty quick, but fair enough. It's better than the other VR device that I use with Google. This one, firstly, doesn't need your own phone. The actual, like, physical mask, I guess, fits pretty well. It's the strap that we originally talked about on the top of the head doesn't actually bother me very much, and I think in this case I probably want it. Using it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Yeah.
Do you think it's worth a couple $100 US for the 64 gig version?
I think so, yeah, compared to what we had before, and also because as much as the technology will progress, I do think that this will be something that you can continue to use, like sort of, like,
It'd be fun a year from now.
Definitely, yeah, and I'm sure that they'll update things, and there will be more apps, and you know, and the longer you have it, the more used to it you'll get, and the more you'll be able to incorporate it. So yeah, I do think it's worth the $200.
Do you think in this time of COVID-19, coronavirus, that, or any other pandemic in the future, that this type of thing might help you stay centered and calm because it takes you out of the world, or is that just me projecting what I think?
Yeah, I think definitely to a certain extent, and that extent would be that when you're using this, like, obviously it takes a lot of your attention, and it's pretty cool just to be, like, in this completely alternate space, even though I'm sitting literally in an office. So I think it's distracting that way, and learning about it, like having it for the first time, going through everything, that's definitely going to take your mind off of it.
Okay, so what about a normal situation? Say your kid was terrified of needles or something silly like that. Would you be able to slap this in your kid's head and have them, you know, play a game or watch something for half an hour while you wait in the lineup and then go get a shot, or, you know, just before they get a shot? Do you think this would help calm them down, or do you think it's not distracting enough?
Yeah, no, I think definitely you see a ton of people now at doctor's offices giving their kids phones to play on just to be distracted when something scary is happening. Yeah, so definitely for kids, yes, I think it would be distracting enough. I think the more you age, the deeper the fear is, and the less you would allow yourself to be distracted.
Yeah.
But it depends on the person, depends on the circumstance. So yes, it should work, but depends on the person.
Do you think it's worth let's say, a little more than 2 times the money to improve the quality and get a few newer games? Because the new Quest from Oculus does more. It has a few more functions. In particular, it has cameras in it, so you can stand up and walk around a room, or so you'll have some sort of spatial awareness. Is it worth 2.5 times the money for that, or is this just a good starter kit, and that's where a lot of people will just want to stay?
Depends on what you're using it for. So for us, I would prefer it, but it's not the end of the world. I can use this for everything that I need or anything that I want to do. But if you were going to use it like every day, let's say, and you had this instead of like a gaming console, I would say, yeah, it would definitely be worth it, because the little bit of graininess and I'm sure this will age pretty quickly with how fast things are moving in the tech world. In that case, I think it would probably be worth it. But for us, in our circumstance, this will be perfect.
We're probably going to use this. We're going to use this for a few months, play with it for a while, get over the COVID thing, and then we'll sell it for probably half of what we paid for it. And somebody will be very happy with that. Then we'll decide that we'll go on and get something else.
Not sure if it's available, but I think it'd be pretty cool if you could choose outside of the like 5 or 6 home things. Just because I'm sitting here and it's what I'm looking at. These are awesome, right? They're super well done. But I'm sure there are a ton of artists out there that would also be able to make just different things. So I think it'd be kind of cool if you could upload one that you did yourself.
That'd be fun. Now, I know they're putting most of the development into, or in fact, all of the development into Quest, so that the Go, they're now just stabilizing and it's just being maintained, which is why the price is so cheap.
So I think that's about it then. If you liked this video, it'd be great if you would click like below, and if you'd subscribe, that'd be even better. It helps with the Google algorithm on YouTube. Other than that, we wish you the best. Stay safe, and if you have any questions or concerns, please get a hold of us at www.urtech.ca. Thank you. Bye-bye.